recording now.
Good evening, everybody. It is June 21st at 6:05 p.m. I am in chambers with Councilors Bain and Abbott and CFO Rook and Municipal Coordinator Rick. On the screen is our recording officer, Carol Lee, and CAO, Peter DeJong. We'll begin the meeting. This is the open session by calling the meeting to order. And we will shortly be going to close, and the proposed topic for discussion in the absence of the public will be land matters, enforcement matters, legal advice, and personnel matters. That the meeting be closed to public on the basis of matters to be considered under the following sections of the community charter, and where required, the council does consider the matters could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality if they were held in public. And that would be under these sections: section 90, subsection 1, subsection A, C, D, F, G, I or J?
It's I.
I, thank you, and K, and N, and section 90, subsection 2B. And Councillor Abbott, I saw something from you earlier today. Is there another section that should be in here too? No, okay, I'm good. Okay, and CAO, is there any other topics or any other reasons we should be addressing now?
I think we're covered.
But thank you very much. Council anticipates reconvening the open meeting to discuss the balance of the agenda. Councillors, can I put forward the motion that these are the reasons that we're going into in camera and the sections of the community charter? I'll put that forward. Can I have a seconder that is correct? Thank you. All in favor? Yes. Those opposed? Yes. Carried. Thank you. And we'll now be going into close. Linda, if you could cut on. Thank you. Thank you. We'll just wait until the gallery joins. I see it's still connecting. Connecting. Good evening, everybody. It is 7:02. I am in chambers with Councillors Bain, Abbott, and Cunliffe, and Councillor Barmier is absent this evening. With me is CAO Rook and Municipal Coordinator Linda Brick. And online we have Public Works Manager Jaffer and CAO DeJong. So again, good evening, everybody. We've just come from the closed out portion of the meeting, which has been suspended for the moment, and we'll be returning at the end of the public section. I'll put forward the motion to adopt the agenda. Councillor Bain, will you second? Any changes, amendments, deletions? Councillors, none. CAO, any? None?
Yeah, just a sec. Sorry. Do you want to go first?
Yep.
So we've got some on-table correspondence from Carl Burr regarding water feasibility studies, and we also need to have a resolution with respect to Canada Day events with respect to noise and parking and such.
So we'll go B, Canada Day.
Well, there's a section for resolutions maybe in that spot.
Thank you very much. Any other changes, CAO?
I think that's it for me.
Good. Councillors, please confirm acceptance of the agenda as amended by saying yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Very good. Public participation, 2 minutes per. Let's begin now. If somebody in the gallery, and I see there's about 3 or 4 of you, would like to come forward, you don't have to turn your camera on. Please unmute. And Ms. Brick, if you could watch. They can enter if they wish to. Mr. Sredzki, you can unmute.
Thank you. I wish to continue on the subject that you interrupted me at the last meeting for an undue reason. I would like to clearly state that the connector project did not receive any public scrutiny. So far, it has been entirely forced on community. In reference to Lions Bay Beach project, the consultation conducted 5 years ago has no relevance to our current needs and wishes. Many things happen in 6 months, never mind 5 years. Let me remind you that this is our village and our money that you're spending. In a democratic system, we wish to have a say on that, in which I add my voice to others who spoke before to put on hold the projects before series of public consultations, which are unlikely to happen before the election. Also have a question. Where can we view the report from a conference in Whistler?
Thank you very much for your point of view on the Lions Bay project, Mr. Sredzki, and also the connector. Councillor Cunliffe, any comment on the Whistler conference? Can you provide us something for the next meeting? Sure. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sredzki. Anybody else? Please come forward if you wish. Otherwise, I'll move on. Nobody's coming forward. I'll move on. Thank you very much to the gallery. And the next piece will be review and approval of the minutes of June the 7th. I'll put forward that motion. Councillor Abbott, will you second? Yep. Changes, amendments, deletions by the councillors. Any? I have none.
I have one. Page 2.
Hi, Mayor. I think I had my hand up, but may have been overlooked.
Okay, just a second, Mr. Berry. Apologies. We'll just suspend on the minutes, and we'll go back to you, Mr. Berry, and you have the floor. And again, you can keep your camera off or on, whatever you prefer, but you've got the floor.
All right. Thanks, Mayor. Mayor and council and staff, I have a few questions regarding the pressure release valves or the PRVs in the village. I understand we have 15 plus or minus in the village, and that we intend to replace these units. I also understand that we've replaced 3 of the underground units to date with what I believe or have seen are quite unsightly boxes, and they're positioned in front of our homes. So I guess my questions are, will the additional 12 PRVs to be replaced be done with above ground units? How much did each of the 3 that we replaced above ground cost to replace? And in your cost benefit analysis, what is the total cost to replace all of the above ground units versus the total cost to replace the in-ground units that would remain out of sight? My final question would be, would the mayor and council and staff consider replacing the remaining PRVs with in-ground units so that the residents don't have to look at these, what I think are very ugly boxes in front of our homes? Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Berry. And I think rather than there are several questions on that, and with the CAOs and the public work manager blessing, we'll ask that you respond to that formally in writing before the next council meeting, if that's fine. Thank you, Mr. Jaffer. Mr. Berry, you can expect your response before the next meeting. Thank you. Back to the minutes.
Just one point, what Mr. Berry said, he did ask council's opinion, but he's going to get a staff report. To just make a point out, they won't reflect council's opinion necessarily because we won't be consulted on it, right?
There we go.
I don't think we will have the same opinion on this one.
I think the works manager is going to.
Yeah, but it will be a staff report, Mr. Berry receives, not council's opinion.
Okay, thank you. On this, so next up again, back.
He's still talking. His lips are moving.
Mr. Berry, you're muted. If you can unmute. Mr. Berry, you're muted. Mr. Berry, you were muted. Could you repeat, unmute and repeat?
I was just saying, if the council wanted to just respond verbally and maybe give me a little better understanding of these above ground units versus the in-ground units, because to me, the in-ground units are just far more desirable. I understand that safety is is a concern, but I've done a little bit of reading on these units, and I understand that safety can be overcome. Any issues in regards to that with the various programs in place, and that as a resident, I certainly don't want to see one of these ugly boxes in front of my home. And I'm sure that other residents would prefer that they're underground and kept underground. So if council wants to comment, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Why don't we go partway in the water, if that's fine, if I could get you to mute yourself, and we'll go from there. And I think from recollection, let's go with the cost, which I thought was one of your questions for the 3 PRVs. CFO, I believe they were in the $750,000 range.
Sure. That's something the Public Works Manager would have to talk about. Would it be better for the Public Works Manager to answer the questions?
Okay.
And then, no, but I'm just going to say, and then address council opinion after they've read his responses?
Sure.
So everyone's memory is refreshed?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy for us to come back and discuss the staff report, if that's what we want to do. But I'm saying it's a staff report, not a council opinion.
Yeah, there's a lot of complicating factors that go into the whole equation. So it would be best to have all of that information back before council so you can talk about it and what the pros and cons are, what the costs are, what safety aspects are, because it's not a simple thing. There's a lot of moving parts and there's a lot of different considerations to take into account. So off the cuff answers are never wise in such circumstances. Best to sort of get the information, put it on the table and talk about it.
Any idea what that cost benefit analysis was? If it was $750,000 for above ground, just recollection, what was your cost just to keep them in ground?
Don't recall, Mr. Berry. We'll come forward with the information and have a discussion at that point in time.
And to Mr. Berry's question, it was decided on a previous council, so we may not even be completely in the equation anyway. So, I mean, this particular council, not all of us would have even been part of that decision. So we wouldn't, even if our memories didn't fail us, we probably don't know the answers.
Okay, so Mr. Berry, we'll again be back to you before the next council meeting, and we'll probably raise this as an item of further discussion, if that's fine with you.
I guess that's the best we can do. So I await those answers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Evans, you had a piece in the minutes, if we'll go right back to that you wanted amendment.
Yeah, the last point on comments attributed to James Mole. It reads, concern regarding the potential size of a duplex permitted under the current zoning bylaw may be overstated. I don't think that reflects what he said at all. I did go back and listen to it. What he was talking about was the duplexes and 0.65 FAR. He referred to monster homes, and he did not believe that size square foot was within keeping with the community. So the way it reads is actually the opposite to what he said.
What would your recommendation be?
Sorry, what was this page, Councillor Abbott?
Page 10.
10?
Yeah.
Sorry, let me find it.
Third bullet. Well, that bullet attributed to Mr. Mole.
Page 10.
Well, yeah, what I wrote down here when I was listening to it, you do not want to see monster homes, and square foot for duplexes should be the same as single homes. I don't think he said the concern was overstated. Certainly not. Oh, no, we know he didn't.
Yeah, yeah, I don't. Sure. So, what would you suggest? Concern regarding the potential size of duplex permitted?
He said he did not want to see monster homes, and that square footage for duplexes should be the same as a single family home.
I don't think he said they should be the same. I think he said that, you know, a person could just easily build two halves that are the same size as one whole. And if they want to do that because they want to create smaller housing or sell two separate units or live in one or what have you, that was where he was coming from. I don't think he was opining on what the floor space ratio ought to be for a duplex.
He did. I'm now reading what I wrote down. if allowed 3,000 square foot single house, then it is a 2 times 1,500 square foot duplex. That's the quote that I took from the agenda. You can go read it and change it, Peter, but that's what he said. What I wrote down. That's what my notes say.
Okay. Oh, we can write down what he said.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, Councillor Abbott?
No.
Thank you. All those in favor of the minutes as amended, please confirm by saying yes. Carried, thank you. Next piece is business arising from the minutes. And I had one, and I'll go counterclockwise. And so I think on the same topic with the community amenity charges, CAO, will those be coming before us at the next meeting?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Then I won't put it in unfinished business. Councillor Cunliffe, anything? Councillor Abbott?
I have one matter arising as it pertains to the section 1907 of the community charter, and this is our annual report. I could discuss it now under matter arising, or if you'd give me 2 minutes when we get to that section. It's not about what's in the actual report, it's about
The procedure?
procedure
I'll give you 2 minutes before.
at that time.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Let's move on. Now, anything else? Any other business to write?
No.
Councillor Bain?
None here.
Call a motion. All those in favor, confirm yes. Thank you, carried. Which brings us to the unfinished business, which is, and I'll whip through this pretty quickly. Mr. Jaffer, no change on the rail crossing.
No, you should have something at the next meeting.
Thank you very much. On the CN vegetation CAO, anything new?
Nope.
Fine. On a piece of the BC Timber Sale Spring, no response back from the minister or from Metro, who I wrote 2 weeks ago. I will be attending the board meeting live on Friday. I'll be talking to the commissioner and asking him where we are with that. So it stays on. And I think the Howe Sound community forum, that's going to appear probably at the next meeting, CAO, because it was more than just agreeing to a date to host. It was a variety of things.
Yeah, I think it was a case of organizing an appropriate date with
The Simons. With Ruth Simons,
Simon?
she couldn't attend this meeting. She's coming as a delegation to the next meeting.
Oh, she is coming as a
Yeah,
delegate?
yeah, so
Okay.
we arranged it around her schedule.
Thank you very much. We'll wait till then. To Mr. Dunn on the road piece, I don't think that's been done. No.
not yet.
Okay, next meeting, please. Thank you. Does that appear realistic to the CAO and the Public Works Manager?
Yeah.
Good, thank you very much. Next up is staff reports, and this is the annual report. And before I begin, I will go back to Councillor Abbott. If you've got a procedural issue, why don't we deal with that first?
Okay, thank you. So as council, there's been some discussion between myself and the CEO about us seeing the report before the public see it. And the CEO has explained that he believes according to the community charter, we aren't able to do that. So the community charter clause 98 reads, before June 30th of each year, a council must prepare an annual report and make the report available for public inspection under section 97. The council is preparing a report. How is it reasonable the report goes out that we have not seen? It's our action to prepare the report, even though we know most of the work's done by staff, but it's our action to prepare a report and put it in the public domain. For a report to go in the public domain that we have never seen, that says things like the mayor's letter is written on behalf of council and no council members ever read it. Just seems completely wrong to me. I don't see why we cannot get this done a week earlier. Let council see it, then it can still go out as a draft, but at least council have seen a report, which the public believe we actually had a hand in writing. And I think that's what the community charter says we should do.
CAO?
Yeah, we could look at what that looks like in terms of timelines and moving everything further up on the calendar.
Yeah, I think we can incorporate that next year. We were challenged this year, because it's coordinated by the municipal coordinator and that commission was vacant, but we do a schedule. I do the finance schedule, so we can incorporate that into the finance schedule. We basically work backwards from the June 30th deadline to calculate the statutory requirement for go to the public. So we will just add something ahead of that and say, and that could even say it could be more than 2 weeks to allow council time to review it. And then we would incorporate all those any possible changes. And then once they're happy with it, it would go out to the public. Like I say, we always work backwards from the June 30th deadline, incorporating council meetings and then the requirement for it to be available to the public for 2 weeks and to advertise it. So I'll make a note to include that in the financial plan that I do. And then it'll just be an extra line on the finance schedule that to council and then to the public.
Thank you.
And Councillor Abbott, relative to the mayor's council, I think I'd sent that into staff in either February or the first week of March.
But once again, you never sent it to council. We have not seen
I
that.
know, but I did do fact checking and background for it.
But if it's,
So I think your
you're
point.
saying it's on, but yeah, if it says on behalf of council, we should have at least seen it.
Yeah, so I think we can incorporate that,
Thank you.
especially next year if we're fully staffed.
There we go. Are you good with where you are with this, Councillor Abbott? Thank you very much. And that brings us to the item itself and the recommendations, and that pursuant to section 99 of the Community Charter, Council has considered the annual report prepared under section 98 of the Community Charter and any oral and written submissions and questions from the public. I'll put that forward. Councillor Bain, will you second?
Will do.
Any discussion on this? Colleagues?
I got a comment.
You go first up.
Well, this may seem a little bit odd to say, but I like the preamble leading into this one. It had more of a human interactive face to it of CAO talking about his first experience coming out of Lions Bay. That was a nice intro to the thing, rather than some cold start document that will end up on somebody's shelf. Like somebody
I believe I had the lead article, which was the call.
You can take it if you want.
Thank you very much. See, I hope, John, I hope you heard that compliment.
Yeah, I did. Thank you.
Yeah, Councillor Abbott.
So once again, a few nitpicking details, maybe some might see it as. On the mayor's report, with his bullets about budgets, and then value what project is described as costing all in 2.26 million. Lions Bay Beach Park renovation project, again, costing 1.07 million. Building expansion costing 4.99. Then it says connector budgeted at $2.75 thousand. My point is, I think we're costing, all of those are budgeted. None of them are costed because we haven't got any hard numbers that have been budgeted or the firewall might be. But I think that should read budgeted.
I'm fine with that.
Not
I agree.
costed. It implies that we know the number and we don't.
I wish I did. I wish I was right with those numbers.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
2 lines down, our lot in Upper Bayview sold for $695 with proceeds to be utilized for future infrastructure. The proceeds, as I further report stated, the proceeds were actually around $395, just under 400 if I remember correctly. I think it's a little misleading. People would read that and think we've made $695. We didn't. I would think it'd be better if we actually put the proceed value in there and not what it sold for.
Maybe say $695 with net proceeds of.
Sure. It was around 400 from the cricket, 395.
We did a lot of law improvements before we sold it.
Okay. The next line down, general tax increases, which covered our operational needs, and the 10% infrastructure tax increase isn't purely for operational needs. There is some capital expenditure in there. Maybe that would read better. We had operational needs and small capital expenditures. Be smart, bird friendly. Keep asking me that. Right, bird and bird friendly.
I get myself fact checked.
Should read be smart, bird friendly.
Thank you.
Not the first time.
Probably why when I wrote it.
Okay. Pam, why's your department 1.9 FTEs? Is that because something she's 40 weeks?
She's 5 days, but they're 40 days, so she doesn't work 40 hours.
She doesn't work 40 hours a week?
It's slowly increasing as her children get older. So the goal is we hope to get it on because they need her.
Right. Maybe not necessarily anything we need to change in the report, but I was surprised to see that we're going to be implementing new violations management software. I didn't know we made that progress.
Yes, because this is 2021. We're purchasing it just towards the end of the year. It was approved in the budget. We used the COVID money and we're implementing it now in 2022. So we're using it.
Okay. Right. So it's not something new.
No.
Okay, fair enough. 2020, that makes sense. All right. The table on solid waste, and this is for public works. I don't know what's going on with this, but I find these stats really difficult to believe. That the garbage, sorry, now on page 36. Garbage went up 40% in 2020 and then dropped down 100% in 2021. There's something odd with this table, and we need to look at it. It can't be true. Either we've got some inaccurate data or something going on.
So this is the data from Metro Vancouver, and it's data derived from weighing each truckload that comes to their transfer station.
Could it be possible that during lockdown of 2020, people were not, you couldn't go to the transfer stations to recycle. So maybe people were overloaded and filling up the landfills with recyclables.
Food and yard waste that went up and then shoots down dramatically. Now this year, last year it was like 50 versus 150 the year before.
Yeah, so the yard waste is attributable to the number of people that were staying home
Gardening.
and doing additional gardening work. So and I would assume that the garbage is pretty much the same reason. You had more people staying at home, generating more garbage rather than generating garbage at the office.
I seems hard to believe with that difference, but okay.
Everything was a lot different in 2020.
I know I was there.
Yeah.
Forty-one. Oh, page 41. We've got no statistics for 2021 on the table. The only vehicle accidents at police table. We missed that. Yeah, we're missing. Okay. And circle it. Page 75. That's not looking the next report. Almost there. So the property values, of this comes from housing assessment. Property values went down to that extent in 2020. So that's in the climb, but we're down 7%. Okay, certainly wasn't anecdotally what I felt like in that market or that year. It really went through the roof.
2018, though, was the year that it really started.
And then it was
And
slightly
then-
down 19, right down in 2020.
And
Recovered in 21.
then we can blame it on COVID again.
There we go.
Yeah, but people started out, I thought our prices went up in the COVID. You
Yeah.
want to become a living lines late.
July 2021, where it started, we really got hit again, and we had
Hmm.
so in 2022, they shot way up.
Okay,
It went up
Here's
in
taxes.
rural market outside of the cities during,
I thought we
because
went up,
everybody was exiting the city.
and I thought we went up with it, to be honest, but maybe not. Okay, then it's just my other thought. Okay. Now I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, any?
I just have one observation on the list of committees where
I've
that,
already noted it to the CFO.
the two chairs are missing from the Climate Action Committee.
Who would they be? Sorry.
Councillor Barmeyer,
Thank
Councillor
you.
Barmeyer.
I didn't miss.
A big miss. We're so focused.
Anybody, any other changes? Thank you very much. All motion, all those in favor with the amendments?
I have one quick
Hang on.
question. Did we have any comments from the public?
No, we didn't this year.
And
We received nothing.
I couldn't touch Shona today because of her training schedule. But I sensed that the links were that hit the link were probably in the low single digit.
Okay,
But I'll confirm that next meeting. Thank you very much. Call the motion. All those in favor with the amendments and as is, please confirm. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Next item, which is the Sophie report and that council approved the 2021 statement of financial information released to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs, and that the 2021 statement of financial information be made available for public inspection. Councillor Rabbit, will you put that forward?
Well,
Councillor Cunliffe, will you second?
second.
CFO, can you give us the story?
Yes, so this is the last of our statutory requirements for the ministry. It's statement of financial information, which we named Sophie, and there's different requirements that we have to report on for the different fiscal year in this case. The scheduled remuneration, which is details of anyone who makes in excess of 75,000. That's kind of the big one, and the any expenditures to suppliers over 25,000. So the remuneration is based on T4, so it's a cash basis. It's what's physically like received by the employee. So it's not what was expensed. One of the reasons is, as you can see below, where we reconcile it to the actual expense in the financial statements. The big difference is the cost of the benefits. So that would be the employer's share of CPP and EI, employment insurance. The big one is the pension. And then also the other benefits that staff get, like the Pacific Blue Cross benefits. And then conversely on the expenses, again, that doesn't reconcile to the financial statements because the requirement is for it to be on a cash basis. So it's what we physically pay the suppliers during the year. And it's also not necessarily an expense. As you can see by everything that has 3 asterisks, that's the money we collect with our taxes on behalf of other authorities like the school tax, the TransLink tax. So it's things that we actually cut checks for, but similar to the AP listing, it isn't necessarily an expense. So you can see from the school tax, we collected $1.4 million of school tax in 2021 that we remitted. And what it means by the cash basis is on the financial statements, if we pay most of the expenses, for example, we pay in January, are expenses related to the prior year. So on the financial statements, we accrue them. But for this report, it's for some reason, it's always been cash. So there's kind of that discrepancy between, so we do a reconciliation of the wages to what's on the financial statements. So I don't know if we just wanted to, does anyone have any questions?
Thank you very much, colleagues. We'll go left to right, right to left.
Out of curiosity, the school tax. Earlier, we were discussing this threshold for over $4 million over.
Mhm.
What percentage of this, would you happen to know, is shouldered by those significant properties?
When I did this 2 years ago, it's $35,000.
I don't think so.
I remember asking you.
More than that.
So
No, I can analyze that for you. We'd have to.
I mean, don't
analyze
spend too much time on it, but I'm just really curious.
Yeah, I
to see.
think we might be able to run a report from it, but it's just calculated by our system that the assessed value, and then when the
Yeah.
school tax is calculated, it just comes out on the tax return. So we might be able to run a report. But I mean, we have individual residents who it's thousands and thousands of dollars for them. So
Yeah,
we don't have a huge percentage of houses, $3 to $4 million. It's not as much as West Vancouver. Almost every resident in West Vancouver pays the extra school tax, but it was a big hit.
wow, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Abbott?
And on the personnel side, the expenses, these are people being reimbursed for training, those kind of costs, or is there any case where someone's gone and bought material? And I'm wondering why one of them jumps out so much higher than all the others.
Yes, this is basically training, it's annual dues, training. If somebody just, bought something on behalf of the village and was reimbursed, that doesn't go on here. It's a benefit to the employee, mileage reimbursement. But are you talking about Carl Callum?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is courses. He's being, and I might ask Public Works Manager to speak more to this, but they are BCIT courses. Because he is taking BCIT courses in water. So that's the course, because we're, we have our public works staff are required to have certain certifications to be able to do water and sewer, but I don't know if our public works manager wanted to speak to that further.
Yeah, so each operator is at a different level in terms of their classification. They're all taking courses to improve themselves and to meet the standards of the job specs that they're working in. And essentially, it's not all in the same year, so everybody is working on a different year. So, for example, one operator in 1 year may have to do 2 or 3 courses, which are mandated by the province, and another operator may have to do them the following year. So they're not always in sync. So some years one employee will go high, another employee will go low. But it's basically educational courses that are required for their certifications.
Thank you very much. Councillor Abbott, you have another question?
Maybe an observation more than a question. Sea to Sky Network Solutions, 3,500 for the year. That's partly due to all the equipment we bought.
It is. I broke it down because it taught me.
You thought I'd ask it.
Also, I'm so focused on 2022. I have to remind myself what happened in 2021. So of that number, 30,000 was for equipment. And of that equipment, 18,500 was 100% funded by grants. It was the laptops and the equipment that we bought in the ESS, and we got grants for it. And then the balance was budgeted amounts. We had new laptops in Public Works and then some in admin. So like I say, 30,000 was equipment, 18,000 fully funded by grants for the EOC and ESS, and the balance was budgeted.
Okay, so about half of it was
So half of it
CapEx.
was-
We see a smile on your face, Councillor Abbott. Good answer.
Okay, those were my questions.
Good for now. Councillor Bain, any questions?
They've all been answered.
Here we go. Last chance, call a motion. All those in favor, confirm by saying yes, opposed no.
Yes,
Carried. Thank you very much. Next piece is the reports. I have none. Councillors, anything you want to do on either councils, either individually or your committees? There being none, moving on. Emergency services, we don't have anything there. Next item 10, and that's the resolution. And we're glad that she's sitting here today. And the resolution that I will put forward is that council appoints Linda Brick, municipal coordinator, as a screening officer as per bylaw notice enforcement bylaw number 385/2006 as amended, and that council appoints Linda Brick, municipal coordinator, as deputy chief election officer for the 2022 general election. Councillor Connell, will you second that?
Second.
Any discussion?
Thank you for volunteering for that, Linda.
Great.
Or was it voluntold?
We-
Pleasure.
You can expect a resolution adding to your duties every council meeting. Call the motion. All those in favor, confirm by saying yes.
Yes.
There you go. Next one is Canada Day, and I don't have beyond the bones on this one. CAO, can you help me out? Oh, and there it is. Which, very good, municipal coordinator. Thank you. The resolution is that Lions Bay parking regulations be suspended near the vicinity of the venues on Canada Day, subject to safety considerations for emergency vehicles who operate, such as in front of fire hydrants, at the fire hall, or in cul-de-sacs, and that the Canada Day event and its associated activities be exempted from the provisions of noise bylaw number 283, 1998, as amended pursuant to section 6M thereof up to 12 midnight, and that the Lions Bay Beach Park remain open until 12 midnight. Councillor Cunliffe, will you put that motion forward?
I'll put that motion forward.
Councillor Bain, will you second?
Yep.
I think we all know what Canada Day is, and I look forward to seeing everybody there. Any questions for the CAO or?
What are the thoughts around the parking relaxations? They're going to allow both sides of the street, because that was.
I'm thinking we haven't done that in the past, but I defer to.
Didn't we angle park?
Let's go back to the horse on this one. CAO to John.
Sorry, the angle parking is something that we're not doing anymore. It was not safe. Two cars, you can get a truck next to a regular car sticking way out in the road, and inhibits, if we had to get fire truck through there, so forth. So you don't gain that many spots, like one or two, by angle parking. So we're not going to be doing that. But the detailed planning for parking hasn't yet been finalized, so we're still working away at that.
There you go. And on the parking, if we could find a space for the Mountie, I think last time you had to climb hill and dale to make it to the park on time. So I'll leave that with you guys. Thank you very much. So did we call the motion? Carrie? Yes.
Move there and a seconder.
Good.
We
Call the
just need
motion. All those in favor, confirm by saying yes. Carried. Thank you very much. Which brings us to correspondence. Councillor Barmayer is not here this evening. I will take over from him. This is on page 91 of your package, using the consent judgment view. I'm going to, for the first 6 items, I'm going to receive these unless somebody wants to pull them out.
Question I wrote something on the first one.
Yeah.
We're going to be supportive of this.
Then you have the floor, Councillor Abbott.
Well,
It seems a little bit
someone else to do it. All I've written is supportive question mark. Now I'm trying to remind myself.
I mean,
You said yes. What did you have to say? Janie's got some.
What was the grant that we were hoping to apply for that we did not qualify for because we were within metro?
There's-
Rural.
Well, all of the ones that fall into that rural grant funding. If you're outside of metro and you're rural,
Yeah,
you get 100%. Typically inside metro, or urban, they only get the kind of 80%. So that's what you're thinking of, I think.
that's what I.
But okay, but now that we're changing to a rural designation, still won't help us because we're inside metro, unless we were in the capital region district where they get exemptions, or we were Bowen Island.
Councillor Abbott, I think it's above the thank you for your time is the actual request in this letter, which is if you want to attend a forum, please email these people.
Yeah.
So unless somebody wants to attend that forum, I suggest we receive.
Just a comment on the content of the correspondence. It appears to be geared primarily towards provision of broadband services, last mile services, and that kind of thing for rural communities. And I don't think their focus is on what you're talking about So it's.
Thank you for clarifying, Peter.
Okay, if it doesn't say that in the letter, but okay, thanks.
Thank you. And I'm going to presume that everybody concurs and receive, and we won't pull it out, which brings us to Rail Safety Week, which I believe to support our partner CN, who is both a genuine business partner and a financial partner with us, and provides the policing in our area, that this is worthwhile and a good public awareness. So the resolution is on page 104, 106. And I will read it. Whereas Rail Safety Week from September 19th to 25th, 2022. Whereas it is in the public's interest to raise citizens' awareness of the dangers of ignoring safety warnings at level crossings and trespassing on rail property to reduce avoidable deaths, injuries, and damage caused by incident involving trains and citizens. Whereas Operation Lifesaver is a public-private partnership whose aim is to work with the public, rail industry, governments, police services, media, and others to raise rail safety awareness. Whereas CN has requested we'll make it Lions Bay Council adopt this resolution in support of its ongoing efforts to raise awareness, save lives, and prevent injuries in communities, including our municipality. I will put that forward and be happy to sign it. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Cunliffe. Any discussion on this? Pretty straightforward. We've got 3 rail crossings. Makes sense. All good. All the motion, all those in favor, please confirm by saying yes. Thank you. Carried.
Yes.
Yes,
And I would ask that this comes forward for signature shortly, and that also we put this in the village update. The information's there too. So if I can leave that with the municipal coordinator to take note on that one. Thank you. That concludes correspondence. Oh no, except for the bottom 2. Sorry, resident correspondent. Mr. Broughton wrote, and he didn't have a question, and he didn't have to reply on anything, so I'll put forward that to be received. And then there is the item from former Mayor Burr, which is an on-table item, and the council members and staff have seen that, and it's to do with a potential water pipeline from West Vancouver, Horseshoe Bay, or other areas to Lions Bay, and I think Mayor Burr's requested me my concise response to him, and the rationale behind it didn't resonate with him, and he's chosen to write it great length back to us, and that's fine and well. I'm going to post it to my council. Quite frankly, my view hasn't changed since I stayed with Mayor Burr. I see the potential for at a minimum multi-year planning to prepare for this kind of thing, multi-year construction period involving many levels of government and all along the road or other areas. And quite frankly, I believe our ability to fund current infrastructure planning that we need to go through, and that we have purchased a property for potential desalination plant in the future. Should we need surplus water, I'm quite fine with saying we're fine with where we are, and we thank him for his interest. Councillor Bain, your thoughts?
Well, we've gone over this before with the infrastructure committee, and even the Metro staff do a brief analysis for us of the feasibility, and it came out indicating that it was a worthwhile cause. I think now is kind of an odd time to bring this up with this council's term winding down with a new project scope for us to consider. So I think even for this council, it's sort of a no-show on this one. And it was bantered around about $10,000 for doing a survey, and I think, or for doing an engineering assessment of it. And I cannot see how in this day and age, $10,000 is going to get you anywhere as far as a $2.5 million project. So
25 million.
25, pardon me, mentally digited. So I don't see any opportunity here to move on this at all.
Thank you very much. Councillor Abbott, if you want to make a comment, otherwise we'll go.
well, I can comment that I agree with Councillor Bain that we've never been able to buy anything for $10,000. So, and I was looking through this trying to see where that number came from, and I didn't find anyone committing to do the $10,000. If it is meant to be a feasibility study level study, then it's going to need some sort of conceptual designs, get the class of estimates you need, So I don't believe that's likely to happen. I don't think there's a trigger right now to revisit this. Yeah, maybe filtration is the trigger. Yeah, I saw the 10,000 there, but I don't know what's behind that. Is it filtration that's a trigger? Even then, I don't know that it's going to make sense, but maybe something like that could cause it to happen. But I do agree it's not something we should be spending time to go into right now.
Thank you very much. Councillor Kenneth?
I would agree with that. And part of our argument to leave the urban containment boundary was the fact that we are not hooked into Metro Water, and the plausibility of that ever happening is very minor. So for that reason alone, I don't think it's worth exploring.
There you go. So to editorialize, I don't wish to respond to all of his points, but in brief, would it be fair to say I can respond that council has no desire to revisit the matter at this time?
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Thank you very much. Moving on to and there is no more correspondence. No new business, and we're back to public questions and back. So there's a gallery here. If you wish to unmute, again, you don't have to turn your camera on, but you just to help me, if you can put your hand up if you wish to speak, otherwise I'll move on. There being no questions from the gallery, I will move on and say thank you very much to the gallery for attending. And we'll say good night to you because council will be moving into the closed meeting shortly. And on that, council does not anticipate reconvening the open meeting for any purpose other than to adjourn the meeting generally and to report out if applicable. So we'll say good night to the gallery, and municipal coordinator, can you make that technically happen? Record. Good evening, everybody. It is 9:30 on the button, and I'm reporting out from the closed portion of the in-camera meeting of the meeting, which is closed to the public. And the reporting out our items are that invited guest Phil Fulkerson, our emergency program coordinator, provided council with an update on ESS personnel matters. Secondly, the Lions Bay Public Arts Council project will be responded to by the mayor. And number three, the council approved $1,500 for the events committee for Canada Day for their funding, and with the proviso that there will be no further funding for 2022. Also, that staff will satisfactorily conclude matters with respect to indemnification of our volunteers. The fourth item was with respect to Meg Toon, who is to be engaged as a Bear Smart subject matter expert for the following purposes. 1, attendance of Canada Day for public education. 2, to work with village bylaw enforcement officers and the Lions Bay Bear Smart Committee on improvements to the Lions Bay Bear Smart program to ensure continued status of Lions Bay as a Bear Smart community. And the cost will be up to a maximum budget of $2,500, and that staff continue to provide support as needed for Bear Smart initiatives. And the last item is that staff, public works staff, will continue to work toward operational policies and procedures with respect to bird-friendly initiatives. And that concludes the reporting out. Can I have a motion to close? Councillor Abbott, thank you. Councillor Cuniff, a second. All in favor, yes, please.
Yeah, you.
Carried. And good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.